after the victory against the Chicago Bears, some fans from around the NFL and even some Detroit Lions fans have made accusations that potentially Jared Goff was point shaving. Say what? We're going to talk about it in today's episode, folks, so stay tuned. It started with an owner who had a last name fans despised, hiring a coach that the experts thought was crazy.
But I got a plan, I swear to you.
Who traded for a QB that was said to be washed up. They said the Detroit Lions would never amount to anything, that it would always be the same old Lions. But this team, our team, has a new identity, defined and expressed by the crazy head coach.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes, I will beat your ass.
Led by the QB that nobody thought was good. Motor City Mania is in full swing and ready to start. So join the show and be prepared for kneecap biting, because Motor City Mania starts right now. Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and we're diving in right now. As always, to those that are coming back to the show, I just want to say thank you all for coming back. Thank you all for your view, your support, your patronage. Thank you all for everything that you all do. You guys are absolutely immensely important to me. You guys are absolutely wonderful. And to those that are tuning into my show for the very first time, I just want to say thank you all for giving my show a shot. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the content. Hopefully I am able to gain your subscription. And with that, I just want to say to everybody else, God bless. Thank you all for what you do. Hope you enjoy the show. And with that, let's dive into the content. So I'm just going to be honest with y'all. This is a show I did not expect to make. I simply did not expect to make this, because this to me is just sheer absolute lunacy. Like, the fact that I have to make content about this is just beyond me. Because I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of background here. I'm not going to try and take too long with this one, but I'm just going to give you guys some background here. I actually got a message on Messenger from a fan of mine. He actually directly messaged me, and he asked me about the fact if he thought that I thought, if Jared Goff was point shaving, or if the rumors or the thought or the accusations of Jared Goff point shaving because of his bad game against the Chicago Bears had any, legitimacy, or if there was any truth to that rumor. And I just was like, dude, I'm like, anybody who believes that nonsense is absolutely just crazy. Like, if I recall correctly, the exact wordage I used, I said somebody's been sniffing paint thinner a little too much. Because for me, the sheer belief, the sheer thought process that Jared Goff went out there and intentionally took points off the board or intentionally played bad, to me makes no damn sense. There's absolutely no way plausible that anybody who watched that game could realistically say that, yeah, Jared Goff went out there and he was deliberately trying to sabotage the Lions. He was deliberately trying to throw the game. He was deliberately trying to make sure that the Lions didn't win, the Bears won, whatever way you'd like to look at it. Or just, he just wasn't into the game. He decided he wasn't going to play his best. I don't believe that for a second. There's not any way on this earth that you could make a logical argument. There's no way you could make a logical, reasonable debate about this whole thing. Because let's understand something here. We first and foremost have to understand why this is even coming to be, why this has actually started. And the reason why is because Jared Goff, ever since him and Ben Johnson have been paired up, ever since he's gotten to Detroit, Jared Goff has been characteristically very clean with the football. He's not typically turned the ball over a whole lot. He's not thrown a whole lot of interceptions in a game. But this game, as I've said in the previous episode, and I'll say it again here now, this game was uncharacteristic for Jared Goff because he had 3 interceptions. That is not something we've normally seen out of Jared Goff. However, though, I'm going to just say this right now and put it out there very poignantly and very much to just put it out there. Just because it hasn't happened before does not mean that it can't happen or won't happen again in the future. It's part of the game. It's part of football. It's part of doing business and playing the game. You're going to have turnovers. You're going to have interceptions. And sometimes a really good quarterback is going to have a really freaking bad game. And just to put it out there, if you again go back to that game that we just had against the Bears, where we won, mind you, 31-26, so keep that in mind. We won the game, and oh, by the way, we would not have won that game had Jared Goff not stepped up late in the game to actually make plays so that way we could win. But again, I'm tying that all into later. Let's just take a look at what Jared Goff did in that game. Again, 23 completions of 35 attempts, 65.7 completion percentage rate, 236 yards, 6.7 an average a throw, 2 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, a 50.4 QBR rating, and a 68.3 passer rating. Again, as I've said before, was not a good game by Jared Goff. Probably one of his worst games as a Detroit Lion since he's got here. But let's be fair to Jared Goff here. He was able to stay resilient. He was able to stay in the pocket. He was able to make big throws when they mattered, and he was able to help pull out the victory for the Lions in the end. Because again, without Jared Goff, we do not win that game. Granted, we don't win that game without a lot of other players, but again, without Goff, we ain't standing a chance. We don't stand a snowball's chance in hell without winning without him. But let me just put this out there for a moment, folks. Probably the biggest reason, like I said, that a lot of people are starting to think that maybe the NFL should, as I've seen on Facebook and I've had people ask me and all this nonsense, investigate Jared Goff for point shaving. I can't even believe I have to say that. But again, the crazy nonsense that you see on social media, it just absolutely blows me away. Like, I'm just absolutely just dumbstruck by the fact that there are people out there that are that gullible to believe that Jared Goff would point shave simply because he had a bad game. But let's think about this, folks. If you actually go back to the game that we're talking about right now, that just happened literally a couple of days ago, yeah, Jared Goff threw 3 interceptions. But again, let's review all 3 of those interceptions, shall we? The first interception that Jared Goff threw was on a slant timing pattern where Sam Laporta, the tight end, ran into the defensive back and the wide receiver was just simply not there to get it, so the ball went to the freaking defender. That's not Jared Goff intentionally overthrowing, underthrowing, not taking a look at where the defensive coverage is. That is surely an accident that happens, and again, part of doing business, because sometimes a wide receiver is going to run into a defensive back. It's a timing route. The quarterback's basing everything off of the timing in his head, and oh my lord, there's a defender right there. He's going to make the pick. That has nothing to do on performance. That just has everything to do with that, hey, you know what? The route was disrupted. The quarterback threw it based on timing. It's an interception. Has absolutely nothing to do with Jared Goff deliberately trying to throw an interception. That's just stupid in my opinion. I'm sorry I'm so pointed about this, but this just is ridiculous to me. Then we take a look at the second interception. The second interception, Jared Goff himself said that when he threw that pass, he did not see the defender. And again, many a quarterback has said that, hey, I simply didn't see the guy. He was out there, I didn't see him, I threw the ball, it was intercepted. Again, has absolutely nothing to do with Jared Goff saying, yeah, I actually saw him, I just wanted to throw it to him because, you know what, it was just for, kicks and giggles. Again, that just makes no sense in my opinion. Again, Jared Goff was trying to thread a tight needle. He didn't see the freaking linebacker. It got intercepted. Part of doing business. Quarterbacks are going to throw really bad interceptions from time to time. That was Jared Goff's really bad interception. And then you take a look at the third interception. In that interception, Jared Goff freaking threw the ball and it was a tipped pass. The freaking defensive lineman had to reach over with his opposite arm over Frank Ragnow's head to tip the pass. At that point, the quarterback can't do anything because the ball's been tipped. At that point, the ball's flight has been completely affected. You don't know where that damn thing's going. So again, how that has anything to do with Jared Goff trying to throw the game, intentionally shave points, I have no idea. But again, as I just broke down, it's complete lunacy. It's sheerly ridiculous that would be something that somebody would instantaneously think, oh, well, maybe Jared Goff was trying to throw the game. Maybe Jared Goff was trying to shave points. I don't understand how that's possible. I don't understand how after watching that game, you can intentionally say and believe that that's what Jared Goff was doing. Because again, Jared Goff threw 2 touchdowns in that game. And one was at the end of the first half, and one was towards the end of the second half. And again, both of those touchdowns were extremely important to us being able to win the game, especially the deep bomb to Jamison Williams. So again, how can Jared Goff be intentionally deciding to try and throw a game, but yet at the same time is responsible for half of our points? Again, it just makes no sense to me. But let's just think about this here, folks. Let's just think about how, again, sheerly stupid this is. Take those 2 interceptions away. And all you do to make this look and make sense is just seriously say this. Let's just say those 2 interceptions that actually were intercepted fall to the ground and they're incomplete. So the passing attempts, the pass completions, the yards, everything remains the same. But instead of 3 interceptions, you have only one interception. You want to know what happens? That 68.3 passer rating that I was just talking about that Jared Goff had, it instantaneously jumps all the way up to a 92.1. That looks like an average day at the office for Jared Goff. That's not bad at all. And nobody's going to freaking bat an eyelash if that's the case. So with two of the interceptions where Jared Goff had absolutely nothing to do with them, if they absolutely fell to the ground incomplete, nobody's batting an eyelash. But because some fans think that Jared Goff did that on purpose, now we're hearing these freaking ridiculous whirlwind reports that, oh, the NFL should investigate him for point shaving. How freaking crazy do you have to be to come up with that nonsense? Because let's just think about this. Just purely think about this. This gets even more crazy when you start thinking it's some of the best quarterbacks in the last couple of years to play the game and how bad they've played in certain games. I'm going to list you guys 6 quarterbacks. Everybody knows these quarterbacks. Most of them, if not all of them at some point, are probably going to go into the NFL Hall of Fame. But let's take a look at some of these guys. Peyton Manning, you want to know how many interceptions he's thrown in one game, the most interceptions he's ever thrown in a game? He threw 6 interceptions in a game on November 11th in 2007 against the Chargers. He had 2 touchdowns to 6 interceptions in that game. The great Peyton Manning, the sheriff, 6 interceptions in one game. I don't recall anybody ever getting on Peyton Manning for that. They just chalked it up to being a bad day at the office for Manning. Let's take a look at Tom Brady, arguably the greatest quarterback that's ever played the game. His worst game in terms of interceptions thrown? 4. He actually has 4 of them, if I recall correctly, where he's thrown 4 interceptions. The last time he did it was on freaking September 25th, 2011. It was against the Bills. He threw 4 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Again, nobody really said anything about that because, hey, it's Tom Brady. He's going to have a bad game every once in a while. Same thing with Peyton Manning. Then we go to freaking Drew Brees, one of the most prolific passers that's ever played in the NFL. He threw 5 interceptions in one game on November 29th, 2012 against the Falcons, and he threw 0, I repeat, 0 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. I don't recall anybody saying that, Drew Brees should be investigated for point shaving. It was just a bad day for Drew Brees. Then we take a look at Big Ben Roethlisberger of the freaking Pittsburgh Steelers. He threw 5 interceptions in one game, and it was on October 8th, 2017. It was against the Jags, and he was at home. Again, like Drew Brees, 0 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. But again, I don't ever recall anywhere them investigating Big Ben because of supposed point shaving. Then we take a look at Phillip Rivers. 4 interceptions is the most he's ever thrown in a game. The last time he did it was freaking November 18th, 2019. It was at home against the Chiefs. 1 touchdown to 4 interceptions. Again, I don't recall hearing any reports or anybody saying that, Phillip Rivers needed to be investigated for point shaving or trying to throw a game. And then the final one, Peyton Manning's younger brother, Eli Manning, threw 5 interceptions in one game. The last time he did it was November 16, 2014, and it was at home against the 49ers. 1 touchdown to 5 interceptions. And again, I don't recall anybody ever saying that Eli Manning had to be investigated for point shaving or trying to deliberately throw a game. That to me is just to put all this information that I'm putting out there together in this very quick video. If you aren't going to say it for those guys, which, oh, by the way, every single quarterback that I just mentioned opposite of Jared Goff had more interceptions than he did in their games because Tom Brady had 4, Phillip Rivers had 4, Brees, Big Ben, and Eli Manning had 5, and Peyton Manning had the most with 6. So Peyton Manning doubled the amount that Jared Goff had in one game, but yet nobody ever batted an eyelash because it's like, listen, it's part of the game. To simply say that when a quarterback has a bad day, that is reason to start saying, maybe he's out there trying to shave points or something. That to me is just ludicrous. Jared Goff was trying to play the best he could. Some plays didn't go his way. The ball bounced the wrong way. And you know what? It's the cost of doing business when you throw passes. Jared Goff couldn't anticipate that freaking his receiver was going to run into the defender. He couldn't anticipate that the defender was going to tip the pass. So why in the hell should anybody say that is reasonable cause? That is just cause to start letting this dangerous rumor about him being investigated for point shaving come all the way out. That to me is just absolutely stupid. It is absolutely irresponsible, and it is something that I will not stand for. So that's why I decided to make this quick episode, because I'd heard more than enough people talk about it. I've seen it circulated on social media. I'm just like, okay, I need to squash this bug right now because this is absolutely just sheer stupidity. Sheerly stupid. But anyway, I just figured I'd make that really quick episode because it's got me hot under the collar, and I'm not going to stand for it. I simply do not understand how people who have brains can come up with that ridiculous logic and say that that is something that we should seriously consider. And the only reason I'm even giving any air to it is because it's like, listen, this needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. But with that having been said, I just want to say thank you all for watching in another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage you all to do one of these three things. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and you've not yet had a chance to do so, again, highly encourage you all to subscribe. It really helps me out. But I also encourage you all, please, after you subscribe, make sure you turn on that bell notification icon as well. It's at the bottom, so that way you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Again, subscription numbers are always going up, but we want to make sure we turn on that notification icon, so that way as soon as I push something out, you're always in the know-how. I also want to encourage y'all, please, share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it everywhere and anywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. And with that, folks, I just want to again say thank you so much for everything that you do. I hope you enjoyed the content. If I hadn't gained your subscription and I just did, welcome to the family. And if I still haven't gained your subscription, hopefully you'll come on back and I'll get another chance to do so. But until the next time we meet, I just want to say God bless, and I'll see you all in the next episode.